Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us for the One Conscious Love Network. I'm here with Susan. Susan and I are friends from the Bump Global Group, and we've met uh, over a month ago now over the Bump Bump calls and just really connected very deeply as friends right away. And so I invited Susan to come into the group today to tell you a little bit about herself and what you do. And kind of share your experience. And I think that everyone's really going to enjoy it. So, Susan, please tell us about yourself.
Oh, well, thank you. And thank you so much for inviting me into this group and to be present with you here. My name is Sue Goodrich or Susan Goodrich, but I go by Sue and I call myself Sue Goodrich, the Good Witch. It's kind of just a little handle. As a soul purpose coach, transformational life coach, to me, the processes that I use really feel like magic. And that's kind of one of the reasons why I still like to use my magic wand. Um, so I have this program I've called an Abundant Entrepreneurial Roadmap. And it really is a series of life coaching over top of a business model, because what I've seen in my life is entrepreneurs, especially single entrepreneurs, solo entrepreneurs, how they, there were things that they couldn't step through in their businesses. And what I could see was that there were capacities that they were struggling with. And I could see that the life coaching skills I had, when I overlaid them, that they would actually really do a great job. And when I started doing that, I couldn't believe the breakthroughs. So that's what I do. Is I like to coach heart-centered entrepreneurs who are really trying to get some traction in the world, but I can see where those pieces are that they need to, have some more magic applied, because we're not meant to do it all on our own.
That's so true, right? And it's hard to be alone and invisible and kind of finding your way through everything to get that piece of information spread out properly into the world. It's a real challenge for sure. So
Mm.
what are some of the techniques and tools that people would learn through your program that would help them get there?
Well, I'll just kind of explain the roadmap a little bit, just in four key pillars, and then talk about how I dropped some of these in here, where they came from. So I know that we are the foundation of our business. And so that is one of the pillars. Another one is, our big dream. Are we dreaming big enough? Because that's one of the things that I see a lot of people do. They're not dreaming big enough. And I'm not just talking about your business, I'm talking about life itself. And so the processes that I take people through have to do with, checking in on their health. But I have hacks, right? I have lots of really cool tools that we call hacks. And then I also have human design, which really helps us sort of live and work aligned with how we were actually designed. Because I call myself a soul purpose coach, where I help people really identify what they were designed to do. Like, a lot of it is kind of don't know. And if you're like a manifesting generator like I am, depending on your lines that you have, and I'm just using some human design tech words here, but what I know is I have 3 stages of my life, and I'm just now in my third trimester, right? So it's interesting. Some of us are meant to just explore the first 30 years of our life. And then the next 30 years are meant to be, exploring something else and then change again. Not everybody's designed that way. And so I like to use human design to help people really find out who they really are. I think one of the beautiful things about that process is that it also helps us identify the things that we're not designed for. Because as solopreneurs, we often try to do it all ourselves, right? And we're like, oh, well, I'm supposed to do that. But we may be very challenged in that area. And not because we haven't tried, but because we're not our design. We're not really designed to do that. And so I think it's really useful to know what those pieces are. And so I found that was really important. Another process I use in that is something that I divinely downloaded, which I call the 8 Ps to purpose. And so I actually take people through the 8 Ps to purpose, which really helps us really ground in and see where are we out of alignment. So that's one of the processes that I use in that area. So there's quite a few. One of the bigger ones that I like to do is something called emotional alchemy. And it's where we learn to tap into our emotions, really connect with our bodies so that we really know. We know how to learn how to say, we learn about, what is a yes, what is a real true yes for us, as opposed to, oh, I've just talked myself out of it or into it when it wasn't really designed for us. So learning to follow your emotions and to be able to step through the states of flow. Like, who would want to know how to step through the states of flow?
So for those watching that are maybe thinking of starting a business or that have an existing business that feel like they're stuck, what would you recommend to them?
Well, the one thing that I do, like, I mean, obviously they can connect with me, but one of the things I think that's really important is to really know thyself, like really to know what turns you on, like what are, so the 8 Ps to purpose, really, like the key things are like, what are you passionate about, right? What are your presents, meaning your gifts, your qualities? Something that you would find in any career coaching, right? You would find a lot of those things, right? Um, One of the things that I found that was really interesting was your priorities. So watching if you're stuck, it may be that you're not actually aligned to what you actually think you're supposed to be doing, and your priorities, which are influenced by your beliefs and your behaviors, which ultimately all lead to your identity. So what are you saying about yourself? Right? And getting really clear, because it always starts with clarity, right? Getting clear on where you want to go. Like, what does that big dream look like? What does that big picture look like? So they use that as your shooting star. One of mine is to raise the vibration of the planet. So it's not unlike your your mission, Melanie, right? It's really, what is your overall missions? And I actually start the day with ritual, looking at what is my mission and my vision? What is my purpose? Really getting clear on what those are so that you can start to take those steps towards that and really listen. Like, it's only up to us to know the what and the why. It's
Mhm.
up to the divine, the bigger field, the higher self, whatever you call it, the universe, is to figure out the what. And my emotional alchemy process will actually take people through that process.
That's beautiful. You touched a little bit on human design. Can you tell us more about it and how it works?
A little more about human design. Such a fascinating tool. I know you and I, Melanie, we were talking about, doing the Myers-Briggs or some of these other personality tests. And, I think those are great, but you need to do a lot deeper work on that stuff. And I really think that they're part of the 8 Ps of purpose, right? Um, but with human design, it's based on astrology, it's based on the gene keys, it's also based on the Kabbalah. And so it's helps you identify where your energy centers are. So, some of us have empty, like I have an empty root center. So it's hard for me to get going at the beginning of the day. So if I surround myself with somebody else who has that, then I can get up. I get to get up and go. That's why I love doing our bump pump calls, because there's other people there and I can get energized by being with other people. Not everybody can get up and go like that. We're just not all designed like that. The other thing that it does is it really helps us identify what our greatest gift is. And as I was mentioning earlier to you, Melanie, as I was sharing about, not only does it help us identify our greatest gift, but also our greatest life's challenge. Those woundings that come and they revisit them. But the truth is, that's the piece that we have already started to overcome because we have the other side of it, and it's the gifts. And that those are the pieces that we need to step into to lead other people through. It also has beautiful, like has these things called channels, and you can have, like, there's only two ends to the channel, and you might have nothing. You may not, it might be empty. If it's empty, that's where you need to get help from someone else. Maybe you have the full channel. That's your brilliance. And that actually is a place where things will flow. I actually have a friend, somebody actually we're like we're working, we're doing a barter, and she's an accountant, but she wants to launch a business for breathing, doing breath work and bringing other people, other pieces in. But she does the accounting piece. And I said, I have part of the channel, but she has the full money channel. And what was so fascinating was we were talking about this, talking about doing my books. And I said, you don't mind me asking you this question? She goes, oh, no. She said, this just flows. And the truth is, if it's your full channel, it's easy, it flows. And that's what we're meant to do. Like, I believe that our businesses, we need to have fun and we need to have flow in our businesses so that we can make our dough. I used to think we needed to have fun and flow while making dough, but in order to actually make dough, meaning money, not cookie dough, right? What we want to do is we really need to have fun and flow. We need to be in that frequency of abundance, that energy, that vibrational frequency that is higher than being in scarcity and isolation. Because when we're in scarcity and isolation, that's all we're going to attract. I know somebody that I had worked with years ago, I was doing medicine wheel work. And she said, she was our leader, and she said, she was teaching us about abundance. And she said, the only thing that begets from abundance is abundance. Like, not scarcity. Unfortunately, scarcity only breeds more scarcity. So we want to, I believe that we really need to spend more time in that higher vibrational frequency. And I believe that our human design chart can really help us identify, what those pieces are, where we need to be spending our time, and how we can also deal with other people. It's really, I find it really powerful. Yeah.
Absolutely. Can you expand a little bit on those channels you're talking about? One of the channels being, you know, the number channels and money channels. What are some of the other ones that someone would find out?
Well, there's the prodigal channel, which I happen to have fully
Yeah.
in my, I'm a storyteller. And it's so fascinating because many of the women that I find that I'm closest to have this same full channel. It's like there's an instant recognition when you have this. And we have this capacity to listen to other stories at a really deep level. We are meant to spend a lot of time in solitude. I don't want to use the word isolation. I want to use the word solitude so that we can digest it and come up with the stories and then tell the stories to the people whose ears it is meant for, which are the lessons that come from the stories. Because that's what we do as those who have that prodigal 1333 channel, as I call it. So yeah, that's just another one that and I don't know all of them by heart. So those two I do know. Those two I do know.
There's a lot, right? Yeah, that's really cool. And so with every coaching session or every session with you, you get to find out more about the design and how to use it. How does that work?
Well, so you can just do a reading, and I actually just am giving out just the chart itself and a few little tidbits about it. And I wasn't originally going to use it other than as part of my coaching, to use it as a tool, but I see that there's so much curiosity around it. It's like, oh, okay, now I'm starting to do readings, but I love to do the coaching around it because it really does help me identify whether somebody is in alignment. Because if they come to me and they're like struggling with something, right? They're being challenged around something. when I look at the design, I can almost see immediately where I need to take them and, what processes that I need to do. Yeah. So I've started also just doing it as an aside, but I love to do the coaching pieces around it. But I definitely use it in the entrepreneurial road, in the abundant entrepreneurial roadmap. Yeah. Because it
That's
also helps
awesome.
us with our messaging. Like we even have a specific way that we're supposed to market. And as I think I shared with you earlier, I spent 6 figures on on marketing training only to find out I'm really meant to just be in groups and connect with people like you.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that's so much better to know now. I mean, obviously, it's better to know it going in, but it's better to know it now than later, for sure. That's
Absolutely.
beautiful.
Absolutely. Well, the thing is, I see now, I know the other ones. And so I can even coach people if that's the modality they're meant to use, then I can coach them through that because I also have the what I call the content container, which also has to do with our environment, right? What does your office look like? Is it cluttered or is it clean? Is it functional? Right? That's just a piece of it. And then the offer piece, right? And then the inventory. The other part of this business is the money because we all get triggered by money.
Hmm.
Almost all of us have, issues around money. Yeah. And so I have a whole section where we do that because we got to know how to flow the dough, right?
That's right. That's beautiful. I love that. I know that people are going to love that. And so, what's some of the ways that people can reach out to you? So,
Well, they can reach me at Sue at, if they want to email me, Sue at transformwithsue.com, or they can go to the website, which is www.transformwithsue.com. That's a really great way to do that. And then, of course, I will drop in some of my other links. There's a way you can actually just get your human design chart for you, and I'll send you a few little emails. And if you're curious beyond that, I'll be open to do some readings for you. That's your curiosity. My emotional alchemy piece, it's a little mini course. It has an audio and a download, or I should say it has a video, a download, and a checklist. So I that's also available to you as well. So yeah, there's a few ways they can reach out to me.
that's awesome. Yeah, we'll definitely put all the links in the comments below. And one question I love to ask everyone is how do you choose one conscious love every day?
Hmm. Choosing it, yes. Um, I always feel challenged with it. I didn't share with you that I have 15-year-old twin boys. I'm 69 and I have 15-year-old twin boys. So I am always having to choose consciously because that can be a challenge trying to get them out of bed in the morning. So yeah, so in my morning practice, in my ritual that I do in the morning, I choose to be my better self. And I
Mm,
ask, I love the question is like, when you don't know, ask what would love do?
mm. That's beautiful. Yeah, that's magical. I love that. That's a really good question to ask yourself for sure in the moment of doubt. Excellent. Anything else you wanted to share with our viewers today?
I think I just want to remind people to just really be in their body and know that they have the possibility of creating the state. They get to choose, you know, like choosing your conscious, love choice. But you get to choose to be in that high vibrational frequency. Yeah. And
Yeah,
that way you can help me with my mission, which is to raise the vibrational frequency of this planet.
I love that. Yes, that's a beautiful mission to have for
Mhm.
sure. Well, thank you so much for joining me, Sue, and thank you everyone for watching. And we're going to put all your links in the comments below. So please reach out to Sue and make a new friend and a new connection. Who knows what's going to come out of that? Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. And book a call. I always love to have a conversation.
amazing. Thank you so much. Thanks everyone for watching.